Hi, friends, strangers, internet. My name is Emily Hanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. And I'm coming to you today, first of all, sans wig. So, I don't know, let's get into that. And second of all, I want to talk to you about 5 releases, 5 products, 5 brands that I totally fell into the hype about. And spoiler, I don't like any of the products. Lately, I've been in a declutter mood. A declutter mood. And it's been a long time coming. Long time coming. So, I've had a lot of time to think about things, and there was just a handful of products where I was like, oh, I regret you. So, most of these, I feel like I fell into the hype. And I just want to talk about how, for me, the hype was fucking wrong. If you are new here and you like colorful makeup, lots of opinions, and cute fat babes in general, you should go ahead and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Nomnivorous, and perhaps check my description box for other ways to support me, like Patreon, YouTube membership, a couple of affiliate codes that I have, things like that. Now, let's get into this. The preemptive things that a lot of us creators have to say. If you like any of the products that I mentioned or any of the brands, this is not an insult to you. This is not an attack. This is just, it's my opinion, as we all love to meme.
How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion!
And also, I am not just talking about mainstream popular brands. I have a couple of indie darlings here that might get me in a little trouble. Oh well. We're going to start with a brand that's kind of new to me. And that brand is M Cosmetics. EM Cosmetics, aka Michelle Phan's makeup brand. Now, my dear friend Alex gifted me a variety of M Cosmetics products for my birthday, and I appreciate the gift in so many different ways. But something that I was really excited about that was a flop for me was the Daydream Cushion Foundation. The Daydream Cushion Foundation is supposed to be a lightweight foundation product that is with SPF. It's made in Korea. You get 2 refills to go into the compact. This is the compact that you get. Decent compact plastic. You get one of those dinky little sponges that I personally dislike, and then you get your cushion product. I am a fan of light to medium weight foundations, skin tints, tinted moisturizers, glowy bases, stuff like that. So I kind of had high hopes for this based on the way M Cosmetics markets everything and my experience with cushion products, which I'll be honest, I haven't worn a cushion foundation in quite a few years, but I remember them being dewy, lightweight, pretty easy to apply. This product just didn't do anything for me. It doesn't feel incredibly comfortable on the skin. I didn't find it to be, super dewy or moisturizing feeling. And I think the thing that always blows my mind is when something looks like it's sheer coverage, which it does. It's very lightweight looking, but it feels cakey on the skin. And that just confused me. And I think the culprit is the SPF, but I'm not a skincare professional. I'm not an SPF expert. But I just thought, okay, it's a compact foundation. This is the kind of format that I could see myself perhaps reaching for pretty often, but it just never felt like it was all that flattering on the skin, it was also not so bad where I was like, get it off me right now. It's just, I would wear it, I would put it on, and I would just, after a while, not be super into it. And then I stopped reaching for it, and I was like, I that's a sign. Then I think I feel like it was like a couple months later, Alex mentioned feeling like it was a cakey product on her skin. And her skin is more, I think, oily than my skin. So, like, our complexion desires don't usually match up perfectly. But I was like, that's what it is. It's like cakey feeling without maybe looking super offensive, but just enough where I was like, you have some audacity to charge $48 for a product that just doesn't perform like a $50 product should perform in my head, or a $20 product, or a $10 product, because I have foundations and skin tints from everywhere from CoverGirl and Catrice to Fenty to Oma, Flower, that all perform nicely, and this one does not. Now let's talk about an indie brand that has gotten a little bit more traction on the dislike front than it used to, and rightfully so. Looksy Beauty. Looksy was one of the first brands I bought single eyeshadows from. And were those eyeshadows that I bought perfect and amazing and wonderful? No, but at the time, they were impressive. They are a brand that I kept kind of keeping an eye on. I would sometimes go back to them. Okay, here's the thing with Looksy. They are incredibly affordable. Some would say cheap. They're like $3 to $5 max per single eyeshadow. Now, at that price point, I'm not saying that nobody should shop from them, because I get it. I totally understand. My biggest issue is that the way that they advertise their shadows versus what you get, it's a complete catfish situation, because they're not the same. And I think that if they were to more honestly advertise them, I would feel less of like people falling into the hype and it being wrong. These Looksy shadows that I picked up, because I picked up some on Black Friday because I'm a clown, even though I had learned in the last year to 2 years my preferences and the quality of Looksy were no longer lining up. But their Black Friday deal, their release, whatever, I was just like, I'm just going to pick some up. These shadows crease on me in a way that I have not seen shadows do at all, or in a really long time. So I picked up about 7 shadows, some from their newest release and some from their previous release. Yeah, when you swatch them out, I think they can look like pretty sheer shadows, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you look at the way they're advertised, they absolutely look different. First of all, it's disappointing to see an indie brand, in my opinion, use techniques that you see mainstream makeup use in terms of deceptive marketing. And then I think I cut myself off. They creased so bad. This is with Pixie Epoxy, which is one of my favorite shimmer glitter glues. They creased with the NYX glitter glue. They don't survive or really show up on my eyes without glitter glue or a sticky primer like that. And they creased in the way of like on my eyes, like my eyes like were eating the eyeshadow. And my eyes really don't do that with any other formula. And I've tried so many different formulas from so many different indie and mainstream brands. I think I also cut myself off when I was earlier saying, and if I didn't cut myself off, I'm saying it now. Millie Bat to the Brow did a video recently showing the difference between swatches and actual real life. And there's a Instagram user that I found that also has some good comparison photos. So I will link both of those in the description box just in case you want to see these things more in action. But they both of those creators really put into words and visuals my disappointment and why I felt like there was this hype that I fell into that just really isn't true. It's like they're fine $3 eyeshadows, but they're not spectacular eyeshadows you just happen to be getting for $3. Not the same. Let's hop into Sephora land. I could have actually picked both products that I bought from this brand, but I just decided I would talk about this one. So, Patrick Ta. The October Sephora sale, I decided to pick up the tinted brow wax and then this cream powder blush duo in Do We Know Her. Now, the brow wax, I kind of knew what I was walking into when I bought it. And spoiler, it's not worth the effort for me. Brow gel is where it's at. But this blush, I did expect to like. I did expect to be able to use it more. I really like the idea of having a compact where you have a cream and a powder blush. I like the idea that they are similar tones, but not the exact same color. And I feel like, this achieves that in terms of the two. So my index finger has the cream and my middle finger has the powder. Now, the cream doesn't go on as intense as it just looked like on my finger. It tends to sheer out. Again, this is the cream and this is the powder, and the lights are definitely blowing it out. Oh, but that's better. So you see there's a slight difference in tone, which is nice. I did really want to love this. I do think the powder blush is nice. It's really pretty color. It applies nicely. I do find that it can build pretty nicely as well. The big thing about this product when it was released is that Patrick Ta, who's a makeup artist, was saying you put down the powder first and then the cream on top, which in a lot of traditional makeup worlds is like a huge no-no. You don't do that. I watch a lot of YouTube, so I watched a lot of creators before I purchased this. And I definitely saw people playing with putting down the cream first and then the powder, or putting down the powder first and then the cream, knowing that Patrick Ta recommended the one specific way, but they wanted to play. So I decided I wanted to play as well in terms of how I applied this. In terms of putting the cream down and then the powder, I don't like that at all. So the cream stays very emollient, and while that can be very desirable for a lot of people, when you put powder on top of that, it really just catches. It catches right on the cream and it just stays there. And I've definitely layered cream and powder products a lot, and that's not always the case. And so I found that the way that you often layer makeup is not advisable for this duo, with my experience shown. For me, though, when I put down the powder first and then the cream, I understand the effect that you're supposed to get, but unfortunately, because this cream does stay so dewy, I don't find it realistically usable for me because of my glasses, the way they sit. Not every cream product makes a really strong line of demarcation right here for me. This one did. In either way I layered it. When I did layer the cream first and then the powder and got a really strong blush look, because that's what happened every single time, you would still get that separation. And the same thing if I put the cream on top of the powder. So I think for me, the formula of the cream in particular is just not my favorite, and that's the breaking point for this. And it makes me really sad because I love cream products in a compact where I can dip a brush in, or if I want to, I can use my finger. But I felt like this is just not made for my skin and the way I want my makeup to wear. Also, a little side note, I find that the way these compacts are built, I can find them challenging to get open, especially if you have, I feel like, any grasping or mobility issues. I know that seems like a small detail, but especially when they're new, I felt like these were a struggle to open. And perhaps it was the Brow product more because it's a smaller compact. But anyway, I fell into the hype and I'm not a fan. Let's bounce to another indie brand. A brand that I've had these products for, I'm going to say about a year now. I don't remember. So it was either spring or summer. So whether it's been 12 months or like 8 months, it's been close to a year. Let's talk about Shine by SD. Now, Shine by SD is a brand that I was hearing a lot about in the indie makeup world. In particular, I felt like more on Instagram than on YouTube. When I try a new brand, especially if I've been watching them for a while, seeing a lot of people talk about them, all of that stuff, I go in. When it comes to singles, I bought 16 single eyeshadows from them. I spent a little under $200, maybe like $175. That's a substantial amount of money for me to spend to get 16 eyeshadows. And I'm not here to criticize any indie brand's pricing. But I am just disappointed in general with what I bought. Now, a couple of reasons why I'm disappointed. I have had 3 of the shadows, so about a fifth of the products that I got, completely disintegrate out of the pans. I tried repressing them, all of that. I just recently went through and I've been reorganizing my singles, and I made this little palette of singles that I want to play more with. Things that were kind of on the chopping block, including my Looksy and then my Shine by SD. And as I was reorganizing, like 3 re-disintegrated on me. And one that I really, really liked called Celebration, which is this like limey yellow green, it just never wanted to stay in the pan. I still have a little product in there. This is a really pretty one, but I can't really recommend it because mine just didn't stay in the pan. One of the other ones that disintegrated and has always been really gently pressed was Twinkle, which is one of their multi-chromes, which is one of their more expensive ones. And it just poof, like, and I could have tried to repress all 3 of these, but I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. And then Reserve number 7, which was not a pressed glitter, but had that kind of beautiful glittery formula. I just kind of realized how beautiful this was. And again, it disintegrated on me, and it made me really, really sad because it is a really pretty shadow that I never really had a chance to work with. They as a brand have a huge variety of shadows. And even once I got them in my hands, I had a hard time understanding the differences in formula because some of the products they were calling duochromes did look really impactful. Others didn't look as impactful. Some of the multi-chromes look like multi-chromes. Others didn't. I don't really know. So like, this one here called Twilight is a multi-chrome. It's a beautiful shimmery multi-chrome. I would say it's like an iridescent one. So that right there is Twilight. It is quite pretty. It's like purple and blue and green with that white base. Another one they also call a multi-chrome is a chameleon multi-chrome, I should say, is Majestic. And it's more of one of those dark-based multi-chromes. This one is also quite pretty. And to me has more body and pigment in it and probably a bit more binder because it has not had that issue of like falling out of the pan, or being too crumbly. And the same would be true for, so this one again is called a multichrome. So just to confirm, both of these shadows are called multichromes. And then this dark multichrome, which I would have assumed these two are the same category. No, this is a chameleon multichrome. But anyway, so this one is called Stardom, and it also reminds me of, the dark-based multichrome that I just swatched. Different colors, but I feel like formula-wise, there are similarities. And then, we saw this beautiful shadow here, which is called a duochrome. That's Celebration. I also have a duochrome called Absolute Joy. I have one called Lilac Blue. And then I have another one called Jealous. Now, again, Absolute Joy and Lilac Blue, to me, have that same pretty shine as Celebration. And then Jealous over here is, again, one of those thin formulas. I say again because that was an issue. But, like, the formula of Jealous, which is up here, is similar to the formula of Twinkle, one of the ones that disintegrated. It's such a thin pigment that I personally have a really hard time building up the impact on it. And the same thing with Twinkle. Twinkle looked like a beautiful pink to green situation in the pan, but I just could not get it to actually show up, even on glitter glue. Oh, and here's another duochrome called Hurting Me that, in my opinion, has that thin formula similar to Jealous. Ugh, I'm putting them in the terrible spots. And not the creaminess of Celebration, Absolute Joy, and Lilac Blue. Can you get my confusion that's happening here? I'm just gonna go through and continue swatching while I'm here. So, Reserve number 6, it's a beautiful shadow. It has a similar texture to Reserve number 7, but it has stayed in the pan, fortunately. And then we have a multi-chrome called Chandelier on my middle finger that reminds me of like a Davina Candy Exploder or some of the pastel kind of multi-chrome duochromes that you see out there. It's like pink to purple to blue. So Chandelier is up here, and then this is Reserve number 6. And then I have more. I picked up a shadow that I did not realize was a pressed glitter. It's called a glitter foil. It really is just like a very lightly pressed glitter. That one's called Rosetta. And it's just not a texture. I mean, I should give it a try, but like it's not a texture that I'm super excited about. So the iridescent multichromes were probably the ones I was most excited about and then got most disappointed by. So I have one called Lightyear, one called Infinity, and one called Looksee. They again have that thin formula. So on this side, these are Shine by SD shadows. You see, they have a nice glow. But when you see, so these are Terra Moon iridescent multichromes. And while the colors don't match up completely, but the glow that comes from these, the glow that have come from other iridescent multichromes, they just don't compare. They just don't compare. I know I went on a bit of a deep dive with the Shine by SD. I've had them in my collection, and I've been very nervous to talk about them. I also don't want to not talk about it and then have other people spend their money and then feel like, why did I spend this money? So I fell into the hype. I bought the shadows. There are some pretty shadows. And what I probably do, now that I've done this little mini review rant, I'll probably go through and sort out the ones that actually impress me and let go of the ones that don't. But as a whole, I could have spent that money in a much better way. After that long eyeshadow detour, let's just talk about one more Im Cosmetics product. One more that definitely inspired this video. Except, okay, wait. I did not buy these. They were passed on to me. They were decluttered from a friend. So, thank you for the friend for informing me of these products. And thank you to the universe for me to have not ever purchased these. And a third thank you to Tina, the fancy face, for ranting about these, for confirming that I was not fucking batshit crazy. The Im Cosmetics Serum Blushes. What are these? What are these? What are people raving about with these products? Y'all know I have done the deep dive into cream products. I've come a long way in my thoughts about them. I have products that I adore. This is oil with like the slightest bit of pigment. It is oil. So here's the thing. Oh, huh. Hey Tina, same thing happened to me just now. This is what's supposed to happen. So not only is the packaging trash, and it's been this bad since they came onto the market, and it stayed this bad, and they're selling these for $25 each. So there's that. But then the actual product, it is oil and pigment. Now, I know you're looking at that and thinking, well, that has a nice color to it. And by the way, the colors that I have are Pink Nectar, and the one I might not be able to show you is Sunset Sky. So you think like that looks like it has a nice amount of pigment to it. Except to actually get it to a layer where you can really wear it on your skin, you're basically shearing it out. Now, even there, okay, that might look like a fine amount of pigment. Even that, as an oil sitting on my skin, there is no way. There is no way I would be able to have that layer of oil just sitting on my skin. I'm gently rubbing this in to kind of get to that point where I feel like I would feel comfortable having. So like, I don't, like I was talking about with Patrick Ta, I don't like really, really dewy things sitting on the top of my skin. I like glowy skin. I don't like oily skin. I like oils in my skincare. To get it to a point, where I would be comfortable wearing it, it's about here. First of all, I would never be able to put this on top of other complexion products because I'm literally rubbing it into the skin like a face oil. And even then, it's just an oil sitting on the skin. And even on me, these tones, because I have to shear them out to such an extreme amount to get the kind of texture I would be comfortable with on my skin, it's still incredibly sheer. I don't understand how anyone is comfortable with just the oil on skin feeling long term. Like I said, I love oil in skincare. I will put an oil on at night before I go to sleep. I'll like let it sink in, do its thing. But to just have it sitting on top of my face, I can't. And again, because I wear glasses, because I touch my face, because my hair touches my face, if the face is super wet, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I don't, I cannot understand the hype. If these were not glass, I would literally be throwing them to get them out of my vision. But they are glass and my floor shatters everything. So I'm not going to do that. And now that I've been talking for way longer than I thought I was going to be, I'm going to go. I also have a live stream to get to, and I'm running late. Tell me something that you've been hating, that you fell for the hype and you regret. I love these kind of topics because as much as I love makeup, I hate having makeup I don't like in my collection. Makes me really mad and really sad. Thank you again for spending a bit of your day with me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed me ranting my fucking ass off. And don't forget to take care of yourself better today than you did yesterday, because you are worth it. Bye, friends.